I'm gonna have to make this part two because just with my I find it difficult sometimes to get like my internet speed enough to the point where I can upload. So if I have to upload and then like uh, what is it, edit it together with the last video, it'd be too difficult. So I'm just gonna call this part two. It was long enough, so whatever. But Apkallu. So the Apkallu go back to the Sumerian times. Um, So like when you see pictures like frescoes or whatever of the men with wings and like maybe the back of a beast or something, a lot of times that's the Apkallu. And then they have Apkallu with like they're more fish based, so they're like myrrh somehow, something like that. But I think they're all said to come from the air. Um, So the thing is, I always assumed I always would see these on like Ancient Aliens. I mean, I didn't watch Ancient Aliens a ton, but or like if you look at articles about the Anunnaki, just in general, a lot of these pictures were affiliated with the Anunnaki. Now I'm wondering, so are all of these actually just the Apkallu? Because, or are they is someone assuming that the Apkallu and the Anunnaki are the same, or maybe they are were assumed to be the same by the Sumerians, you know? But if they're not the same, and actually the image of the Apkallu has been more or less appropriated to be the Anunnaki, then that's really interesting because um, I've seen these statues that the Anunnaki, they're like sitting on thrones. They're like sort of suspended somehow. It looks very alien and weird, and they look very serpentine, almost, or not reptilian. They look very reptilian. So I've always known the Anunnaki whole theory is very very sticky, and it's, you know, I don't really have a lot of respect for like Zachariah Sitchin or a lot of the people that talk about these things. I also think everyone wants to say that like one group of aliens came down, changed the game, and now we have the world that we have. And when before we were just, you know, savages with half a brain, just uh, fornicating left and right or something, you know. I would say, um, I would say that doesn't make any sense because we have so many different things, so many different, like, okay, first of all, like the Odin religion, Votan, something like that, and that goes way back. And then we have Hinduism, which goes way back. They're way different. Yet Votan tells us all kinds of things about aliens and whatnot. Like if you talk about like the Bifrost is like the Milky Way galaxy, and then the Tree of Worlds is very much sounds like it's talking about aliens, and it kind of sounds like there's some real alien contact there. It's a very different culture, and so you're telling me that the Anunnaki came and it just trickled and evolved in its own way, and all it doesn't make sense to me. Um, so I think the different, like, I think there's a lot of activity from out there in the stars, uh, beings coming here. I do want to give an honorable mention to the Dogon tribe, or a dishonorable mention. I'm not sure if it's legit, but they say that they talk about different alien races coming to Earth, and it's very interesting, and it sort of connects some dots. Actually, the reason I'm kind of suspicious of them is it kind of connects too many dots, you know. And why is there such a preservation effort towards them? Like who's protecting them? I mean, I just see like David Icke talking to one old African tribesman, like they came, and he brings this statue that looks just like, you know, UFO community stuff. You know, I and you know, we're hearing from like South American, or like yeah, South American natives of like looking at pictures of gray aliens and being like, "Oh yeah, that's the ant people we talked about in our mythology." No, we've seen those things, you know. So I'm not necessarily so disbelieving. I think a lot of things are considered to be brand new that aren't. You know, like, oh, we just figured out now that aliens come down to Earth, and now and people looked in the old scriptures and are like, well, actually, this has been happening for a long, long time. Even in the Bible, I can think right off the bat of at least one time where it kind of maybe could be interpreted that aliens came down. Probably that's. Hmm, I would say there's one time that sounds like that, maybe two, and then there's a lot of the other things sound at least like some kind of extraterrestrial communication, or could sound that way. I say it could be made to fit in such a paradigm. I don't think it's necessarily leading that way like Hinduism is, where it's pretty just openly like, oh yeah, these guys came from other worlds. They came on these like they hopped on a Vimana and yogically made themselves lighter than air, and poof, they're here. So yeah. All that to say, if there is really a distinction between the Apkallu and the Anunnaki, that's really interesting because that kind of supports a lot of the UFO community that's like, oh, the Anunnaki are actually reptilians that are like controlling the Earth, and that kind of validates David Icke and kind of a lot of this sort of information. Asha Dean as well. So even W Solaris, like I kind of I don't know why I mentioned her really. So it says my phone storage is almost full. I just deleted like 2 videos. That No, 3. I deleted like 30 minutes worth of film. I probably have to go into a different file. I think you have to delete it twice, but so maybe I'll continue this rant later. But I like this format. I